What is a rock opera?
Oh man.
A rock opera is
Something epic told through song.
creating a new world and using music to do it. My name is Jeremy Jasper. I'm the writer, director, co-songwriter of the film Odessa.
My name is Jason Binnick. I am the co-songwriter for the film Odessa. Hey, Jer.
Hey, Jay. I started playing in garage bands when I was about 15, 16 in New Jersey.
I gravitated towards electric guitar probably by watching the Monkees.
Never taken a lesson, completely self-taught.
After college, I toured for years. I loved touring and the road, going wild in a civilized way.
I spent my 20s making records, touring, and then I hit a wall and realized I wanted to use music to tell bigger stories.
I first started scoring short films back in New York after being on the road for a little while, just looking for art to make. None of it really took off until Jeremy called me. Jeremy and I had known each other from the New York rock scene. I remember you as like a wild frontman.
And I remember you being like very shy.
And
I was kind of like, what's up with this guy?
One day he called asking if I wanted to try to collaborate on some video he was working on.
Because I was making this very strange short film about a meat puppet. We got in the studio, we made that song in one day, and it was one of the best musical experiences I had had up to that point.
Why Jeremy to me often feels like more of a question of why me. Like I just feel really, kind of blessed that he trusts me.
He has an incredible patience and a work ethic that I've really never quite seen in anybody before.
When he talks to me about music, it just felt exciting. Just felt like, oh, this is not somebody that wants me to copy somebody else.
But the way that we weave together is really potent, I think.
My process with Jeremy starts with Jeremy showing up with a song.
I have these songs that are quite crude, but I bring them in a rough form. Sit down, I'll usually grab a guitar and rough out what the song is.
He'll have chords, he'll have some kind of melody, maybe he has lyrics, maybe he's humming something.
So that's how I would do it. Then Jay, you play where it ends up. We start to build the tracks piece by piece.
When Jeremy first pitched me the idea of Odessa, I think I blacked out. It was like the most exciting thing I'd ever imagined I could work on.
Odessa's been with me for a long time. This pompadoured young woman in this
folk, prog, mythic,
dreamlike wasteland. Something that mixed classic Americana with science fiction. The story of Odessa is a musical odyssey.
When the film starts, the character of Odessa is on a farm. She plays more traditional folk music.
And as she goes on this journey, she goes into another world.
She ends up in a city that's full of electronic sounds.
Kind of like a progression through pop music.
The soundtrack of Odessa is American folk music to psychedelic 60s to a doomy, dark synth.
I like to bring in a lot of influences and weave them together. It becomes this strange Frankenstein collage.
The biggest challenge for me was getting proficient with the American folk fingerpicking. Your fingers become like a voice, and your thumb is a constant rhythm. It's a way that I hadn't internalized music before. I performed a lot of guitars, steel string guitars, classical guitar, used a nylon string banjo, played a pump organ a lot, lots of analog synth stuff, or saxophone and clarinet and violin, percussion.
Did Jason mention that he whistled on this thing too?
I played the railing. I'm just banging on the stairs.
It's like collaborating with a full orchestra in one person. He can kind of do it all.
When I
Recording with Sadie and Kelvin, they're both so talented.
I always imagined the character to be much more of like an Iggy Pop. What Kelvin brought, he made him more of like a Prince. His voice is so smooth. Sadie Sink is the most natural, gifted singer that I've ever worked with.
We probably could have used the first take of anything Sadie did.
She could take on any genre, some rockabilly hiccup stuff. She's singing like intimate ballads, and she can do it all.
She learned how to play all the guitar parts so that like everything on camera looks perfect.
We're using a lot of her live takes while we're shooting. She is singing live. She became Odessa. So the song was a tough one, and I had written that Odessa was going to play on one string of her guitar.
The first thing I did was take 5 strings off of one of my guitars and just start like thinking about what would sound cool.
One string, tons of distortion, chorus hits, and it's like this acid rock pop explosion.
The resonance that you lose by taking all the other strings off, you get by adding all this like fuzz.
So you make one string sound massive. Here Comes the Seventh Son. It's like an explosion. It had that groove, that da-na-na, da-na, and then it had the big riff. And we just kept adding elements.
We knew the high points, like we knew where it had to get, but what do you do to build up to that? We're hearing lots of percussion and like big drums.
Brass.
It's just like a heartbeat and Odessa's power.
And then Sadie's voice sort of soaring on top. You know, being in bands for so many years really taught me how to collaborate and really what good chemistry is.
To me, film is like the art form that brings everything together.
It excites me to blend and meld all different kinds of influences.
In some ways, it was hard to put all these sounds together. You just need to kind of push at the corners until you make it fit.
With the final breath left in my lungs, I sing all is love, all